The closer you are to retirement, the more interesting investing in bonds will become. Bonds provide a stable, close to guaranteed form of income. And because it is basically guaranteed, it also provides less yield than, let's say, the average stock. But if you are playing golf with your buddies on the course while sipping away your mojitos, I doubt you worry much about opportunity cost and will be happy to just enjoy your retirement. But now you have a choice to make. Do you buy an individual bond or a bond ETF? Let's get into specifics. If you buy a bond, you are basically paying a company or a government a straight up sum of cash, say $1,000. The company or government can now spend this cash on maybe an acquisition when it's a corporate bond, or on building a new highway when it's a government bond. However, you don't just donate this money over. You expect something back. You want interest on your investment. Bonds offer a yield that vary depending on the body that offers it. Bonds usually have a very long expiry date, sometimes even decades. This means that over these decades, you get paid interest on your investment every single year, and when the bond expires, you get your initial $1,000 back. A government is very likely to pay you back the money they owe you, and because of this, government bonds offer a relatively low yield. A risky company that may not be around in a few decades will have to offer a way higher interest rate to make it worth the risk I'm taking to invest in them. Therefore, corporate bonds can provide a higher yield, but carries the risk that you may never get your initial investment back. So, how is an individual bond different from a bond ETF? Well, the big difference is this. A bond ETF holds a lot of different bonds, with different expiration dates and yield percentages. Remember, once a bond expires, you get back the full initial investment. Once your individual bond expires, you get back your full $1,000 and have to choose a new bond to purchase. Whereas if you buy a bond ETF, they automatically invest any released capital into new holdings. In other words, a bond ETF would just keep on buying bonds with different and continuous expiration dates. So, if it saves you the effort of screening and buying bonds yourself, why would you ever decide to invest in an individual bond? Well, if you buy an individual bond, you decide what expiration you want on your bonds, and when you get the full invested capital back. Let's say that you know that you want to buy a house in 10 years. Or you know that you have to pay tuition for your child who will become 18 in 10 years and goes to college. Then it makes sense to invest in a bond that expires exactly 10 years from now. That way, you will earn interest on your capital during those 10 years and you will have the full amount available to pay your house or children's tuition. If you decide to buy a bond ETF instead, you have no guarantee of getting back your initial investment. Yes, a bond ETF is very liquid, and you can simply sell your shares in the bond ETF. But, with interest rates fluctuating, the value of bonds will also fluctuate. So it is possible that interest rates will rapidly increase in 10 years, just like it has been doing in 2022, and the value of bonds and therefore your initial investment will drop. So basically, with an individual bond, you buy one bond with one yield and one expiration date, and after that expiration date you get back the full initial investment. Whereas with a bond ETF, you buy an entire basket of smaller bonds with different yields, different expiration dates that automatically renew themselves upon expiration, for which you also pay a little fee. In sum, if you know that you need the capital for a significant event somewhere in the future, it is safer to buy individual bonds with an expiration around that date, because you know you'll get your capital back and won't make any realized losses as long as you wait out the full duration and don't sell them earlier when interest rates are rising. If you don't have any such event coming up and know that you won't need your full invested amount anyway, a bond ETF will save you a lot of effort and provide you with a well-diversified exposure of the bond market. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio!